Hello folks, I hope you're all doing well. It's a bit cold, it's a bit snowy, it's a bit frosty here, but not to worry, we've still got some jobs to do. And the first job is getting some garlic planted out in one of these pots. Now I was inspired by In the Garden with Eli and Kate, so go and have a look at their channel. I'll pop a link in the description down below, go and see what they're up to. And the cat's just come to join us as well, so you might see Fred the cat floating about, but we've got some spare garlic. I've got some left over, and it's just sort of sitting there in this cell tray, not really doing very much, and it's a bit of a waste, so I want to do something with it. So I've got one of these pots, and we'll have a look what we're going to do now. I've drilled loads of drainage holes in the bottom there because garlic doesn't like getting very wet. Now some of this already in this tray is looking a bit ropey because it's been inside one of the little greenhouses for a while. It's been really damp and whatnot, so we're going to get it put in here and we're going to plant it out. And to be honest, this snowy frosty weather, absolutely brilliant for the garlic. So first things first is I've got this big tray full of stones there, hopefully you can see it. So we're going to put a good old sample of stones in the bottom there. As you can see there, hopefully, maybe it's a bit dark, hopefully you can see, there's at least, oh, I don't know, a centimetre and a half, maybe it's about 2 centimetres of stones in the bottom of this tub. And that's just to aid drainage, right? So we don't want the garlic getting waterlogged, we don't want it sitting there and really damp, really wet compost all the time. So we've got the holes in the bottom of the tub, then we've got stones on top. Don't have to use stones, you can use all sorts of different stuff. Bits of broken pot, that's a popular one. You break a plant pot, save the bits and put them in the bottom. Job's a good one. Next up, we're going to put some compost in. Now over here, I've got a wheelbarrow full of spent compost. Now if I hold one of these up, these are the potato buckets that we grew our potatoes in last year, and they were full of compost, good soil. Maybe it's had some of the nutrition taken out of it a little bit, so we're going to add some nutrition in. We're also going to add some perlite into the mix because again we want that water to be able to drain out of the bucket and not let the garlic get really wet. So let's start scooping up some of this compost. Oh, it's absolutely freezing as well. I wish I'd maybe put some gloves on there, and we've probably got a good, I don't know, what was that, 3 or 4 double handfuls there. And we're going to get some of the perlite, and I'm going to be quite generous with the perlite. Again, I'm not doing exact measures ish, it's maybe a ratio here, I would say 75 to 80% compost and about 20-25% perlite. Into that, fish blood and bone, get some nutrition back in there. Again, I'm not measuring it, just putting a good dusting in there, you know. Right down at the bottom here, I want the fish blood and bone, which is obviously where the roots of the garlic are going to go. Garlic, onions, all that sort of stuff. Get very hungry. So as well as putting the fish blood and bone in there, later on in the year I'll top it up with some different feed, and we'll give it some liquid feed and stuff like that, just so there's plenty of nutrition for the garlic in there. What I'll do is I'll get this filled up near enough to the top there, and I'll come back to you and we'll take a look at putting the garlic in. So that's the bucket full, you can see it there. Well, hopefully you can see it there with the perlite in and about the compost there, again to help aid that drainage. Now we've got the garlic over here, and let's pop some of this out. They've been in the cell trays, and you can see they're just starting to shoot to the top there, and we've got some lovely little roots down at the bottom there. And I'm literally, let's get rid of that bit of wood there in the compost, we'll get rid of that. So I'm just going to pop it in to the bucket, not too deep, and what I'll do is I'll bring the camera over in just a minute there, and you can see sort of just how deep they are, because I'm not going to push the garlic all the way in. I don't want the clove being entirely covered, because again I want to avoid it rotting and going bad, especially when, you know, this time of year, we're in January here, things are still a bit wet, and you can see obviously around and about me it's a bit snowy, so things have been a bit rough here over the last few days weather wise. And I think I'm just trying to figure out while I'm going along here how many cloves I'm going to put in here, because obviously the cloves are going to become bulbs, so they're going to get a lot bigger. I think I'll just put one more One more in, and there's the label popping out, just as I'm about to tell you. The variety that I'm putting in here is called Picardy White. So, let me fetch the camera over, and we'll just have a look in the top of this bucket, and you can see how it's looking. So, we have got the pot here that we've got the garlic in. You can see how it's sort of spaced out just there, that just poking up. And I've got the cloves, they're only just sort of buried, sort of half buried in the pot there, because I don't want them being totally covered. We've got the perlite and the bloodfish and bone in with the compost there. Good drainage at the bottom, malera stones at the bottom, and plenty of holes in there. Next on the list of things to sort are leeks. It is far too early in the year to have leeks, like little baby leeks like this on the go, but these have been sitting in the little greenhouse over there for I don't know how long, and I've been meaning to do something with them time and time again, and I haven't, and they've just sat there and they're looking. I don't know how they're still going, I don't know how they're still alive. They need a bit of TLC. And talking about being inspired by things, I was watching Charles Dowding the other day, and he did an experiment with different types of compost, and he grew leeks in sacks. So I thought, why not give it a try with one of these potato buckets? So no hills drill in the bottom. These come with some beautiful drainage holes in the bottom there, and they work absolutely fine, because we had them for the potatoes during the summer there, and they were champion. Now, I'm not going to put any perlite in with this mix. This is just going to be some of the straightforward spent compost here that we used with the potatoes again. I'm going to fill this about, I don't know, 25% of the way up, about a quarter of the way up from the bottom there, just to begin with. And then we're going to put our friend bloodfish and bone in there and give it a good mix in again. There's no perlite going in with this, and if it's not too dark in the bucket there, hopefully you can see just about how much compost I've put in. Again, like the garlic, I'm going to fill this up to the top, and then we'll look at how we're going to transfer the leeks in. Back with you in just a jiffy. Right, so that's the bucket pretty much full, and again, hopefully you can see that on the camera there. It's about 2 to 3 inches off the very top of the bucket there. I don't want it full right to the top. And let's take one of our pretty sad looking leeks, and I reckon these are going to look like they've got a load of roots wrapped around the compost. If it comes out, it's a bit frozen in the pot. Oh, look at that, that's frozen right at the bottom there. But the roots, if you can see them there, are all sort of bound round the bottom here, and it's not ideal, it's not great. You don't want them like that. I've left them in the pots too long, but we're going to rescue them. There's nothing to lose here. First thing I'm going to do, we're going to give it a bit of a haircut, and that's just going to encourage growth. And there's a little bit of sort of dead looking bit on the outside, and you can see I've been quite harsh there with how much I've taken off. I mean, that's longer than that, and it's come right down to this. So we're going to dig the hole here, and let me bury that deepish again. I'll bring the camera over in just a wee minute there and just show you how deep that is inside there. And I don't know, when I watched Charles Dowding do his, he did multi-sown. He does loads of multi-sown stuff. Now these have obviously been sown individually, so they're not multi-sown, and he was putting his in the buckets in clumps, which I'm not going to do. So I reckon one of these 30 litre buckets that I'm using here, I think I'm going to put 5 in. I think that's maybe's about right. So I'm going to do 4 around the outside and then 1 in the middle. But again, leave it with me for 10 minutes. I'll bring you back over and we'll have a look at how all this is looking at the end there. Got the leeks here in the 30 litre bucket. We can see we've got 5 there in this sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern. No perlite in there, lots of nutrition, no stones at the bottom because there's good drainage in these buckets anyway. Leeks don't mind it being a bit damp. It is far too early in the year, unless you're into doing sort of show leeks and things like that, to have these out. I am probably going to wrap these up in some agricultural fleece, and then we'll take them up to the allotment and put them in the polytunnel. The garlic, however, loves a bit of frost. It loves a bit of cold, loves a bit of frost. They're going to be living outside in this pot, and we'll see how they get on later. Right, that is me pretty much done for now. Please think about subscribing, absolutely free. Just click the red button down below, or think about giving us a thumbs up if you like this video, if you like seeing what we're up to. Follow along, see how we get on later in the year, you know, have the leeks grown, are they any decent? Has the garlic turned out all right? You'll never know unless you follow along and watch. Anyway, that's me done for today. It's absolutely freezing, I'm going inside for a cuppa, but thank you very much for watching, folks, and I'll hopefully see you on the next one. Bye for now.